Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the video lecture series on wireless cellular and 4G LTE on module number 5, lecture number 5 on radio resource management. We will see how the radio resources can be allocated in a proper way and then how they can be managed. So in the previous video lecture, we have seen how this MAC sublayer is helpful in achieving the good quality of service in LTE system. So today we will look into some other services and functions related to MAC layer and RLC layer. So in this MAC layer and RLC layer, we do have some more main important functions. Okay, and this MAC layer and the RLC sub layers, they perform the they serve the protocol stack. Okay, what we say is called as a protocol stack of LTE. Okay, so as we know, LTE lies under the layer 2, that is protocol stack will lie under the layer 2, and in that particular layer we have three different categories, like we have PDCP, we have seen in detail, and then we have a MAC, and in that particular MAC we have another called as a RLC, that is radio link control, and the other is your last but not the least, it is nothing but your RRC layers. Okay, so after studying the concept of MAC and how the MAC will help in LTE, the services and functions related to MAC related to these RLC sublayers, they include the transferring and the receiving of PDUs from the upper layers. Okay, so this is one of the major important parameter here, the transmission and the reception from the upper layers. Okay, so what we have seen in the layer model, from the application towards the physical, so the transmission of your data or the receiving of your data is more important. Okay, so whatever the data which is coming from the upper layers, that has to be transferred or it has to be received from the upper layers. Okay, so that is nothing but from your RRC, radio resource control, for the CCCH logical channels. Okay, and or sometimes it can be from PDCP for other cases. Okay, so PDCP is the another different layer, sub layers, what you can call. Okay, but it is not, but it also plays the another important role in this transmission and reception. The second function or the service related to RLC is the error correction through ARQ, that is automatic repeat request. Okay, so this is one algorithm which is used for the correction of your data. Okay, when it is operated under AM mode, we can see this AM mode, what we have seen in the yesterday video, that is acknowledgement mode, and in acknowledgement mode the concept of retransmission and repeat request comes. Okay, so this is the another function which this RLC layer does, that is error correction through automatic repeat request. If you find any kind of error in the received bits, okay, it will request the transmitter for retransmission. Okay, a kind of acknowledgement, and based on that particular acknowledgement, this error can be minimized or error can be removed. The third purpose here is the concatenation, segmentation, and the reassembly of RLC SDUs. Okay, so these are the three very important operations which this RLC layer does. One is concatenation, okay, then segmentation, dividing the whole data into the different sub blocks, and then reassembling at the receiver of what, of RLC. Okay, and this can be used only in UM, that is nothing but your unacknowledgement mode as well as in acknowledgement mode data transfer. The resegmentation of RLC data, it is only used under AM data transfer. Then in sequence delivery of upper layer, so whatever the data which we have done and which we have categorized into different sequence by assigning some numbers, okay, that is delivery number or some sequence number, they can be only done under these two categories, that is UM and AM data transfer. The another purpose which this RLC serve here is, it is duplication detection. If you find any kind of the bits which are duplicated due to some addition of the bits in the network or in the wireless channel, then this RLC layer has the provision to detect such duplication of bits. and again they can be only done under the UM mode and AM mode data transfer. Apart from the duplicate detection, we have protocol error detection and the recovery. If you find any kind of the protocol error, then it will detect and also it will recover. So therefore, this is how the purpose or the RLC sublayer will serve the LTE. Then it also does the re-establishment. Okay. Then once we know the services and the functions related to RLC, this LTE defines the two MAC entities. Okay, so under MAC, that is medium access control, we have two entities. So those two entities are, one is user terminal or user entity, and the another is enhancement node B. The exact function performed by the MAC entities are different in UE from those which are performed in node P. It means that the operation or the performance parameters which if we measure in the user entity, then they are completely different, or sometimes they are completely exact what they do in eNode. Okay, therefore what they have mentioned here is, if you take this user entity and if you take this eNode entity, the whatever the functions related to UE are not same as compared to eNode B. It means they both are different. Now let us see what are the services and the functions related to MAC sublayer. These above services and functions are related to RLC sublayer. Okay, and this are related to MAC sublayer. So the very first function and the service which is provided by the MAC sublayer is the mapping between the logical channel and the transport channel. The mapping in the sense, if you have some kind of logical channels and if you have some kind of transport channels, then there should be a kind of mapping. Mapping in the sense, there should be some kind of synchronization between the logical channels and the transport channels. The other operation is multiplexing and demultiplexing. What we have seen in the yesterday, that the another important parameter is multiplexing and demultiplexing. It is only done under the medium access control, and it is one of the kind of belonging to one or more different logical channels, and sometimes it falls under the transport network or transport block. After doing multiplexing and the demultiplexing, this MAC sublayer also has the provision to schedule in the sense for both uplink and downlink transmission. For example, if you have some data which has to be uploaded or which has to be downloaded, then this scheduling operation will play the important role, such that there will not be any kind of delay in the downloading or uploading. The another point here is the error correction is through HARQ, that is header automatic repeat request, okay, which has a tight interaction with ARQ. Okay, so this is automatic repeat request. If you have this kind of automatic repeat request, then automatically this error, whatever we find in the received bits or in the received signal, it can be minimized. Apart from that, the additional fields which this MAC sublayer has are, one is data control field. Okay, you can see we have a format here which is shown in figure number 10.9. It is for status PDU. Okay, so in that particular status PDU we have different fields. Okay, but this is for your PDU segments. The additional fields which we have here are, one is the data control field. Okay, and it is responsible to indicate whether the RLC PDU is an RLC data or whether it is a control data. Okay, for example, if I give the input as logic 0, then it will do the RLC PDU will work under the data. Okay, and if I give logic 1, then it will work under the control. It is just like selecting which type of input you want to give to the segments. Okay, whether you want to give the data control or whether you want to give it to your normal RLC control type. Okay, then the next field here is resegmentation flag. You know what do you mean by the flag? We usually use in the microcontroller to set the flag and to reset the flag based on the carrier, right? The concept is a bit similar here. This field, this RF field indicates whether the RLC PDU is an AMD PDU or it's an AMD PDU segment, whether it is a part of the whole PDU unit or it is a part of the segment PDU. Okay, then similarly we have one more field, it is called as a polling bit. Okay, and this polling bit field indicates whether the transmitting side of an acknowledgement mode RLC entity requests a status report from its peer AM RLC entity or not. Okay, which is just like a kind of a polling, whether the transmitting side, okay, is there any kind of a request is been given, or whether is there any kind of a request is been asked such that the status report is given. Okay, so based on that, this field will become logic 0 or logic 1. Okay, then this RLC header, it has again some additional segments, okay, or some kind of a special segment, special fields. Okay, so these includes segment offset, we denote it by SO. This segment offset here is, it will indicate the position of PDU segment in bytes within the original AMD PDU. Okay, so here the term AMD is we don't have any term for that. AM amplitude modulation we have. Okay, we'll see how this can be done. Okay, but let us go with this. Okay, this here this AMD PDU segment in bytes with the original PDU or not. Okay, then the another special field here is last segment flag. Okay, this last segment flag will indicate whether the last byte of AMD PDU segment corresponds to the last byte of an AMD PDU or not. It is just like checking your last byte. Okay, whether the last byte in the given field is, whether it is a PDU segment is there or whether it is not there. Okay, then it's just like the status, or whatever the status which is given by a kind of an acknowledgement. Okay, this status PDU, it is the another field, okay, which is used at the receiving side. Okay, one it will be at the transmitting side and another will be at the receiving side. Okay, whatever the information which is received at the receiving side, you should acknowledge. Okay, you should give the status of the received bits or received entity. Okay, so if this status PDU, it is usually used at the receiving entity to indicate the missing portion of your data. Okay, now let us see the status PDU format. There is one format which is shown here in figure number 10.9, and the format is for status PDU. Okay, so in this format we have a RLC header. So first is your CPT or DC. DC is nothing but our data control. Based on the logic 1 and 0, it can be your data control, or it can data RLC, or it can be your RLC data. Okay, then the second is CPT. CPT is nothing but your control PDU type field, and it is of this field particularly is used to indicate the type of RLC control. Okay, and this is used in the release 8. Okay, we have the different mobility management fields we have. Next we can see how this can be used in the release 8, release 7. Okay, so there are various release versions of your LTE system. Okay, starting from 1G, 2G, 3G. Okay, then 3.5G, 3GPP. Okay, then 4G. Okay, so similarly here it is used in release 8. The status PDU is only defined control PDU. Okay, then you can see here that is ACK-SN, that is acknowledgement sequence number, and this field is used to indicate the sequence of the next if not received, that is RLC data, which is not reported as a missing status. Okay, for example, if you are transmitting some data, RLC data, and that data is received, okay, if it is received then also it will acknowledge, if it is not received then also it will acknowledge. Okay, so this is the operation of ACK-SN, and the next field here is EI, that is extension bit 1, and this field indicates whether a set of negative acknowledgement number E1 and E2 as follows. We have the second, you can see here it starts from E1. Okay, first field negative acknowledgement, then followed by again E1 and E2. And what is this negative acknowledgement here is, this field is used to indicate the sequence number of AMD PDU or a part of it. Either it can take the whole AMD PDU or a part of AMD PDU, such that has, whether if you find any kind of the bits are lost, then it will detect at the receiving side of the acknowledgement mode RLC entity. Then we have SO start. Okay, it's a SO start field and SO end field. We have two end fields. Okay, and these two fields together, it will be together, indicates the portion of AMD with your sequence number, with the negative acknowledgement sequence number. Okay, you can see SO start, SO end, and negative sequence acknowledgement number. Okay, and why this is used? These are used because if you find any kind of loss in the bits of the detected bits, you can tell, or any loss in the received bits, then again it will inform the negative acknowledgement. Okay, either it can be positive acknowledgement, we simply call it as an acknowledgement signal, acknowledgement sequence number, or negative acknowledgement sequence number. Okay, so we have one more example here in figure number 10.10. It shows the example of your MAC PDU. Okay, consisting of MAC header. Okay, this is the MAC header. Then this is MAC header. Okay, then we have MAC control element and MAC SDU and padding. Okay, so here is the MAC control elements 1 till M. Okay, and then is MAC SDU till 1 till N, and the last part of the format is padding. Okay, and again this MAC PDU format, what you see, or MAC header, it is divided into different sub headers. So MAC subheader 1, MAC subheader 2 till MAC subheader N, and all these subheaders will come under the MAC sublayer, MAC headers. Okay, and what is the use of this MAC PDU format? Again, is nothing but it will just give you a small brief discussion about, we have some MAC headers with some sublayers. Okay, MAC control element, that is E1, E2, E3, E4 till EM. Then we have a payload. Okay, just what you have seen your IP datagram, the below part will act as a payload, right? The above fields are your header, version number, right? Takeoff bits, TOF. Okay, right? Everything is in comes under one package. Okay, so same thing here also. This is the format for your MAC. Okay, and other than this, we have another format for MAC PDU, which is shown here. Okay, this is an example for MAC subheader. So whatever the header you see in figure number 10.10, this is MAC subheader. And now what this MAC subheader consists of? It consists of one small format, that is, it consists of R field. Okay, basically it's a part of the MAC protocol. It is a part of MAC PDU. Okay, and what this MAC PDU consists of? It consists of different sublayers. Okay, so typically if you look at this figure number 10.11, it consists of 5 different fields, 1 2 3 4 5. So this is 1 2 3 4 and 5. Okay, this R and R taken as one field. Okay, so what is this R field represents? R field represents, it is currently reserved and always set to 0. And E field is nothing but it is an extension field, as a flag indicates if more fields are present in the MAC header. Okay, for example, if I set this E field equal to 1, okay, then another set of at least RR, E, LC, ID fields follows. Okay, it will follow the another one set of field based on this element. Okay, or based on this extension number, this other blocks will follow. Like if you want to have more than one, just increase the count. Okay, and that particular count will give you the total count. Okay, so therefore if you set 1, then another set of this whole block will come and follow. Okay, otherwise everything will be as it is. Everything will be as it is in the sense this will follow, this will follow. So no, this will not change. If this is 1, everything is same. Okay, then we have LCID. Okay, LCID is nothing but it's a logical channel ID. Okay, and why it is used? It is used to identify the logical channel instance of the corresponding MAC SDU or the type of corresponding MAC control element or padding. Then we have field F. Okay, and it is a field F is nothing but this format indicates the size of the length of field. Okay, so if you find this F is equal to 0, if you set F is equal to 0, then the size of MAC SDU or MAC protocol element is less than 128 bytes. Okay, or else if you put f is equal to 1, then it is beyond that. Okay, so therefore if there is 1, it means that you may have some extension of subheaders. Okay, subheaders, or increasing the size of your subheaders to more than 1. The last field here is the L field, and this field is used to indicate the length of corresponding MAC PDU, okay, or MAC control elements in bytes, and this is usually denoted by the F field. Okay, so in this way, they give you, we assign, or we will try to assign the formats, and we try to design this stack protocol, and this stack protocol will help us in finding the various, this can be used in the various applications of your LTE. Okay, but basically this MAC control element, what we have in this particular topic, it is used for signaling, okay, for buffering status reports, okay, and for some kind of disconnection reception, okay, some commands, some timing advanced commands, okay, like user entities, power headroom, and contention resolution. Okay, and apart from that, there is a transparent MAC PDU. Okay, just like your AM UM, we have one more code as a TM mode, right? So this transparent MAC PDU, it consists solely a MAC PDU without any header. Okay, so if you find a header, it is nothing but just like your acknowledgement and UM mode. If you do not find any kind of header, then it falls under the category where you don't have any kind of MAC header. Okay, so in this way, this complete protocol stack of for MAC is being explained by showing the various fields. Okay, so similarly, there is one more format which is shown in figure number 10.12. Okay, that is MAC PDU for random access response. Okay, this is almost similar like the above one. Okay, we do have some MAC headers, then we have MAC RA, R1, RA, R2, RA, RN, and we simply pad. Okay, so what that represents, okay, for this particular format, again we do have some kind of representation. Okay, so what here this MAC PDU is nothing but it's just like your random access response. This RAR stand for random access response. Okay, random access response, and it has again different type of formats shown here, you can see. Okay, and what is basically this random access format here is nothing but here this again the header consists of more than MAC PDU. This header is almost equal to this header, same length. This whatever you see here, the format in figure number 10.11, it is same as used in this particular field, that is 10.12. Okay, and apart from that, the MAC payload, what you see, it consists of more than one MAC random access response. We represent it by MAC AR and the optional padding. Okay, and apart from that, there are some special fields are there. One is reserved bit, it is always set to 0. Okay, what we have seen here, that is R field, it is a reserved, it is always set to a 0. Okay, we have time advanced command, this is the additional with what we can see in this particular format, and this field is used to indicate the value which is used to control the amount of timing adjustment. Okay, that user entity has to apply. Okay, it is all 11 bits. Okay, it's 11-bit field, time advanced command, it's 11-bit field. So based on the number of bits, it will give you the timing adjustment. Okay, you can adjust the timing to the user entity. We have another field called as UL grant. It indicates the resource to be used on the uplink and is of 20 bits. Okay, so whatever the resource which are allocated for the radio resource, it will be only used for the uplink, not for the downlink, and it is of 20 bits. And the last is your temporary CRNTI field, and this field is nothing but your temporary identity field, which is used here by UE, that is user entity, during random access, and it is of 16 bits. Okay, so we will go in detail how this can be done in the next class. Okay, so with this I conclude our today's topic. Thank you.